Good morning, my name is Byron Drew from Weather Commerce, and this is this morning's weather brief on Monday, the 9th of July. Today's brief will include a quick look at your medium-term forecast, followed by a more detailed forecast across the UK and Europe, followed by Scandinavian precipitation, and finally global weather alerts. We'll start our medium-term outlook with our weekly average temperature forecast across the UK over the next 32 days, where in the first week of August, temperatures are likely to trend between 1 and 2 degrees below climate average in the UK. These below average temperatures are likely to be as a result of a cool northeasterly airflow across the UK, associated with the high pressure north and west of the country. This for the same reason that temperatures are likely to trend below climate average in Germany over the same period. And while synoptic patterns are likely to be overall less organized for the last week in July, in general, temperatures are once again likely to trend generally below climate average into the UK, as well as Germany, while conditions are likely to trend nearer climate average in France and even above climate average in Spain. And now for a more detailed look at your temperature forecast across the UK over the next 15 days, starting with your average temperature between days 11 and 15. Where there is good model agreement and consistency for generally near-average temperatures in the UK. These near-average temperatures are likely the result of a generally mild westerly airflow across the country associated with high pressure to the south and low pressure to the north. Between days 6 and 10, temperatures are likely to be between 1 and 2 degrees below climate average in the UK, as a generally cooler northerly or northwesterly airflow is expected. During this period, there is generally good model agreement and consistency between both available ensemble models, and as you can see from the red line that represents my own particular temperature forecast, temperatures are expected to gradually moderate back towards, although likely below, climate average through the forecast period. And finally, in the short term, temperatures across the UK are likely to trend 2 or 3 degrees below normal over the next 2 to 5 days. And now for a look at conditions across the rest of Western Europe over the next 15 days, starting with your West European temperature forecast between days 11 and 15. And during this time, temperatures across Central Europe are likely to trend near to, although potentially just slightly below climate average, while in the Iberian Peninsula, temperatures across Spain are likely to trend slightly above climate average. The reason for these near-average temperatures across Central Europe between days 11 and 15 are the same as the reasons for the near-average temperatures across the UK, with a ridge of high pressure extending across Central Europe, producing a generally mild to slightly cool westerly to northwesterly airflow into central parts of Europe. And conditions are likely to be significantly cooler between days 6 and 10, with the coolest weather likely to be in the east into the likes of Germany and Austria, where temperatures could trend as much as 4 or 5 degrees below normal. Temperatures are likely to be milder further west. In fact, over the Iberian Peninsula, near average temperatures are expected, while in France temperatures are likely to trend roughly 2 or 3 degrees below normal. This general trend can be explained by tracking the origin of the air masses across Europe, with the air in far western parts of Europe, and Spain in particular, originating at similar latitudes to the UK as air rotates around the high-pressure system, while the air that is likely to move into central and eastern parts of Europe have origin much further north, in fact associated with a low-pressure system that is expected to build up over Scandinavia. And finally, between days 2 and 5, temperatures are likely to trend between 2 and 3 degrees below climate average through many parts of Central Europe, including Switzerland and Benelux, while further east into the likes of Germany, temperatures could trend as much as 4 degrees below normal for this time of year. And over the next 4 days, UV radiation across far western parts of Europe, and Spain in particular, are likely to be medium to high, and even very high at times. And during the same period, aggregated wind speeds across Germany are likely to be light to moderate, averaging between 2 and 7 meters per second across the country, with wind speeds likely to be strongest this afternoon and weakest overnight from Tuesday into Wednesday. And in the short term, for the rest of today, aggregated solar radiation forecast across Germany is likely to be moderate, peaking at about 550 watts per square meter. And now for your Scandinavian precipitation forecast, where generally above average precipitation totals are likely for most parts of Scandinavia over the next 7 or 8 days, with the exception being far northern parts of Scandinavia, where generally well below average totals are likely. with precipitation totals likely to generally moderate from the first and into the second week of the forecast, with the biggest decrease likely in southern parts of Norway and Sweden. And now for global weather alerts. Starting with an update on the recent unseasonably wet weather across the UK, where, although conditions are likely to begin to dry across most parts of the UK after a particularly wet weekend, generally above average precipitation totals are once again likely across the country over the next 7 or 8 days. And there is signal in North America for temperatures to begin to cool in most parts of the country. In fact, temperatures in the eastern half of the country are likely to trend near to or even slightly below climate average over the next 7 or 8 days, while temperatures in the western half of the country are likely to trend above average to potentially well above average over the same period. And further south, into South America, precipitation totals are likely to be near to or below average across most parts of Brazil. However, totals could exceed normal around Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro. And finally, in East Asia, near to or below average temperatures are likely for most parts of southeastern China, as well as Korea and Japan. And that's all for today's weather brief. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.